What is going on, guys? In this video I'm going to show you an excellent mod that is available on Steam for Civilization 5. This mod is called Winter is Coming to Civ Deluxe and aims to convert Civilization into a Game of Thrones universe, and from what I've seen so far it does it very well. In addition to this mod, there's like a sister mod called Winter Events and Decisions, which allows for a few additional tweaks in the game, and that's what we're going to take a look at today. So let's get straight into it. So first of all, let's have a quick look over the civilizations that are available, and as you can see, all the previous civs that were in the game are completely gone, and they've been replaced instead by the various leaders of Game of Thrones. And let's have a look. So we've first, of course, got the Iron Islands. These guys can embark on water straight away, which makes sense because, of course, they are a seafaring nation. They also have no movement cost to pillage, which is their way of life, which is quite interesting. We have Daenerys Targaryen. She has influence over city-states, and similar to Greece, it will not drain as quickly, and it will recover twice as fast. She also starts, which is very interesting, she starts with 3 dragons, which can be upgraded to become more powerful. So that's quite interesting and unique. We have the Dorne, of course, who are, they fight as though they're in full strength, so similar to the Japanese in the base game. We have the Dothraki. Their cities will start with additional territory, and they get a combat bonus when fighting all over their own territory, and of course, all of their mounted units have +1 as they love their horses. We have the Riverlands. These guys can move through the forest and jungle as though it was road. Then we have from beyond the wall, so the free folk, so you can actually play the wildlings beyond the wall, and these guys gain culture from every kill that for every enemy unit that they kill. We have the Reach. These guys have a 25% production towards any buildings that exist in the capital. We have the Vale, who is ruled over by Littlefinger. These units can cross mountains after the first general has been earned. They do start taking damage if they stay on the mountain though. They receive +4 gold from each trade route, and of course it wouldn't be Littlefinger if we didn't have an extra spy. We have Renly Baratheon in the game, who presides over the Stormlands. These guys have more food, culture and faith from friendly sovereignties. So sovereignties are the city-states in this game. We have Robb from the north. So no Jon Snow, but the winter is coming, and Robb is the one that's going to pave our way to war. This guy is the Grey Generals are 10% more effective. Killing units grants a bonus of faith. Once chivalry has been researched, a loyal bannerman unit spawns in each city when the first war is declared. So that's quite powerful. And one thing that it doesn't mention here, but they do have a direwolf pack, so you can actually control a pack of direwolves, which I think is quite fun. Then we have Stannis Baratheon, who controls the Crownlands. This guy is a very religious one, so you can choose one more belief than normal when you found a religion. Combat bonus of +20% when fighting units from a civilization with more cities than the Crownlands. And finally, of course, we have Tywin Lannister controlling over the Westerlands, and of course his is all about gold. He can spend gold to annex or puppet a sovereignty or city-state that has been your ally for 5 turns, so very similar to Austria. So, before I jump into a campaign, I want to quickly show you a full map of the game, which is Westeros Essos Deluxe. I'm going to reveal the map and show you where everything is. So I'll be back in just a moment. So welcome back, guys. And so here we can see that I've completely revealed the map, and I did that using the in-game editor mod, just so we can take a brief look. And I wanted to reveal this so you can decide yourself kind of the positioning and which civ you might find interesting to play with, and it just gives you a bit of an insight before you jump into playing this mod. So I've started this Civ as Daenerys Targaryen, and as you can see, she starts out with 4 cities on the south of Essos. So as you can see on the map, we have Essos and then Westeros on the map. Um, so we have Daenerys Targaryen with her 3 little dragons here, which are quite good. I mean, they're just fledgling dragons, but they do upgrade. So that's quite interesting. To the north of us here we have the Dothraki. They start out with 4 cities as well. And of course, if you can imagine, they're only low population now, but if you imagine when they grow, they're going to take up quite a decent amount of territory. And they're a bit sprawling out, the Dothraki, but they're there. It is the only, on this one, when you play one of these 2 civs, you're only going to have each other. So we've only got Daenerys Targaryen and the Dothraki playing here. There are no other civs on Essos, but as you can see, there are quite a few city-states, which are the 3 cities like Volantis and Mer and Pentos and Cahor. And Bravas over in the very northwest of Essos. So I suppose if you wanted to control a large amount of territory with a minimal war, this is probably one of these two civs is probably the best way to go. So going along to the south of Westeros, we have the Dorne, or Dorne, I'm not sure which way that's pronounced, but they have 5 cities and they sprawl across the south coast of Westeros, with Sunspear as their capital, of course. North of those, we have the Stormlands. These guys are ruled by Renly Baratheon. So they're just south of the King's Landing, a decent amount of territory for them to expand in with their 5 cities. Then to the north, of course, we just have King's Landing, which is just a solitary city controlled by the Lannisters, of course, just as it is in the story. To the southwest of here, we have the Reach, which I find is actually quite an interesting civ to start with, because in the story at least, they're not really at war with anyone, and they're in quite a prosperous position. So it could be a good one to build up and start actually taking over these territories while they war with each other. To the west of Westeros and the north of the Reach is of course the Lannisters, which is ruled over by Tywin Lannister. These guys they have 5 cities over here, and then they have King's Landing. So of course these are going to be very high military. They're going to probably wage war with most civs in this game. So if you want a high war one, this is probably a good one to start with. To the north of the Lannisters, we have the Riverlands, which they're in a decent position. I think they're kind of northern, and I think they're going to probably have to deal with the Iron Islands, which is over here. And they have the Lannisters who might want to move in. So, bit of an interesting position. Maybe kind of a weak position, though, in my opinion. And then to the east of these, we have the Crownlands, which is ruled by Stannis Baratheon. So he has 5 cities as well. He's very close to King's Landing. I'm sure that's going to be of interest. I'm sure that these guys are eventually going to have to war with the Lannisters, because of course they're going to want the King's Landing. But so are his brother Renly Baratheon is also going to want it. So this is probably where early wars is going to happen. I might be wrong, but that's how I would see it. So, to the north of Stannis Baratheon, we have the Vale, which I think is very interesting. They've got basically an entire segment of the map all to themselves, and they have 6 cities, which the Eyrie is a very interesting one because it comes with a fort, and it's very well protected in its mountain, as it is in the story. So actually this is a really fortified position, and a very good one in my opinion to start from. It has a lot of ocean that it can go over to Essos if it wanted to, so a very interesting one to start with, and one that I'm actually contemplating starting the game with. So after those, to the very to the very west, we have the Iron Islands, which they have 3 very small islands, but then they also have Flint's Finger, which is over on the mainland. Now, obviously in the story, these guys are kind of a little bit weak. They're pretty poor as a nation, but they are excellent on the sea. and these aren't very good cities at all to start with, but that makes them interesting, I think. I mean, it could easily be that we go in after the Riverlands and try and take over the Riverlands, or if you wanted, you could try and tackle the north. Oh, actually, they have a fifth city up here, Fishing Village, so they do have some mainland cities. So, of course, after the Iron Islands, we of course have the North, which by far controls the most territory in the game, which is true to the story. They have Winterfell in the center, of course, but they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cities in all. And it controls effectively the entire north. And I mean, when these guys spread out, that's going to be a big block of territory. And I think they're pretty well defended. I mean, everyone's going to have to go up to the north to fight them, and that's quite a long process for them to do. So again, a very interesting one to start with. A lot of land to cover though, and maybe a little bit too much, too many cities. Sorry, to kind of build up in the early stages of the game. But Winterfell is of course controlled by the Starks, and so it's definitely one that we're going to be interested in playing. And the final civ in the game is Beyond the Wall, which I think is really interesting how they've created the wall. They've got three, this is one entire city-state, which is Castle Black, and it's their forts along them, so Shadow Tower and Eastwatch, and then Castle Black. But in between the mountains they have forts, which will do a lot of damage, like they will do a lot of attrition damage to any attacks from the north. And of course, beyond the wall, there are the Free Folk, and these guys have what 5 cities. So they have one off here on a random island, but they have 4 cities beyond the north, and their task, of course, is to come south. Now this is a very interesting prospect to play these guys, because you could play the Free Folk who want the ambition of just moving south away from the dangers, which are over here. Which is, always winter, and there's already in there, as we can see, 4 barbarian camps, and we can assume that they will continue to spawn and move over towards there. So, maybe a difficult one to play, but an interesting one all the same. So, before I end this video and actually jump into a campaign, I wanted to just show you the Enact Decisions mod, which is the Winter Decisions mod that comes along with this. So in Enact Decisions, some of you may already be familiar with this, but it allows you to unlock certain features which can help civilization. I've not really played with this mod at all, so we're going to kind of see this through my playthrough and see if it's something that's worth playing with. But we can, over the years, so there's first one, Codified laws. So over the years, various laws and decrees have been accumulated. In the interest of efficient administration, it would be better to codify them into a single corpus of law so everyone will know their rights. So once you meet certain requirements, you can enact it, and it gives you some benefits. So in this case, it will cost you 200 culture and 1 magistrate, which is what you accumulate. But it also creates a code of laws that gets compiled in the capital. So you can unlock some good things, like look at this one, 25% increase in gold in all cities once you can unlock this. And here is a standard gold reward, so you just get 60 gold. And this one rewards you with a free factory in the capital, and factories produce +1 production. And then there's receive a free technology. 2 archaeologists appear near the capital. I think the cost and the rewards go up as you progress through the the turns and the ages, and the different technology trees. But it's something that we'll have a look at and see if we enjoy. And finally, guys, is of course the tech tree, which is changed quite significantly. In some of them we have additional ones, like the Potter is quite new, and it allows you to get a plus gold production to your city. And there's a few of them that have got new things, like new wonders, like the Great Pyramid of Marine. They've all been replaced, so it's really gone to attention to detail, and it's made it really interesting. As you progress through the technologies, a lot of these, like as you can see at the top, the ages are different. We've got the Dawn Age, we've got the Age of Heroes, the Age of Valyria, and then the Seven Kingdoms Age. Now, as you can see, when you get to Seven Kingdoms, you can do astronomy, acoustics, and banking, but none of the rest. The ones in red are blocked because they are not, they have no relevance to the game world that we know. There is one tech further on, which is Master of Whispers, and this leads. I don't know if you can actually learn this or not, but it unlocks an additional spy and the Master of Whispers National Wonder. So there are some that are blocked, and like for example, you're not going to get nukes, you're not going to get planes, but you know. It's good. It's limited it. Everyone's going to be limited by the same technology. You're not going to go ahead and suddenly, you're going to have these robots coming through your city and destroying you. So it's very, very good. And that's everything for this mod so far, guys. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to decide on what Civ I'm going to play with. I'm going to launch a game and we're going to create a campaign as that Civ and kind of hopefully at least fulfill some sort of objective. We've got to defeat someone in some way. So guys, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope it's helped you decide on which Civ you want to play, and also, just to dive in and play this mod and give it a go. If you did, give this a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel for more on this mod and other Civ 5 mods, and please share with me your experiences of this mod, and we'll see how we go. Thanks guys.